Alright, so this is not for the faint of heart, okay? Are you sure that you want to see this? Ever since I've come back from holiday, my games have been less than stellar. Look at the amount of red over here. And this isn't even my only account. I had a couple of really good games when I first came back, but ever since I've dropped down about, I think this is in total like 3, maybe even 400 MMR, which at my level of play is the difference between like being ranked 250 to 300 on the server, all the way to being ranked like 10,000. So today it is time to start crawling our way back onto the ladder. This is just something that happens every once in a while, but I figured let's start off strong and make sure that I record the first games that I play. Alrighty, looks like our first opponent of the day is gonna be a Protoss player. I'm ready for it. Obviously, we currently do have the anniversary celebration for StarCraft 2 since it turned 8 years old. Every single time I build a base, it absolutely scares me because I think something's exploding. I keep thinking it's like widow mines or whatever. But anyways, so obviously, when you play a video game and basically any game in general, you go through phases where you win a lot and you go through phases where you start losing. And it turns out that right now is apparently the time where I have started losing. I decided, after going on a pretty massive losing streak, right, a couple of days ago, and I even tried playing some on the North American server and it didn't really go any better over there either. I decided to take a couple, I think like 2 days off or so off of laddering, and today we are back. I'm feeling much better. One of the things that I personally noticed is that whenever I play poorly, okay, that's quite annoying. I'm probably gonna have to take the third base instead. But whenever I play poorly, it's usually due to the fact that I either didn't sleep properly or in general I'm just not feeling amazing. But obviously, since I went on holiday, right? It only was like 8 days. I obviously didn't play. And because of that, I immediately noticed a pretty significant drop in skill level. Interestingly enough though, the very first day that I came back, I played like an absolute champion. I have no clue what happened there. I was playing people at like 6k plus MMR and beating almost every single one of them, but then the day afterwards, it just simply went downhill from there. Anyways, I've been on massive downswings in MMR before. I always kind of, I don't know how many of you are familiar with, for example, the basics of playing online poker. I used to play online poker for quite a while. Essentially, you experience downswings in pretty much every single scenario. Even when you play really well and you make statistical choices that are correct in poker, there's still actually a chance you may very well end up losing and going down in your bankroll just because of the fact that you either just simply got unlucky or because you started tilting and you started playing poorly. I usually keep a rule with myself where if I lose more than 3 in a row, that's when I take a little ladder break, and I highly recommend you do something along those lines as well because it really does make life easier. Anyway, it's time to go ahead and make a small group of links. This is a little bit awkward, obviously, because of the fact that my third base is taken as my natural. Now, the one thing that I do have going for me is that my opponent didn't go for a really quick early game pressure. Yeah, he's going for an adept right now, but that's something we can handle quite comfortably. I'm gonna go ahead and put a couple of links over at my bases, and we'll just simply continue droning up. I did get the third base right now in my natural. And we did scout out that already there's a robo facility coming up here for my opponent. Judging by the timing, it's very likely that he doesn't have something super aggressive here as a follow-up. Ooh! Sadly, I am gonna lose one worker here. That's a little unfortunate, but it is part of the game. But it does look like there's probably not gonna be a Twilight Council. So I can at the very least play rather greedy. Losing an Overlord here kinda hurts though. Gotta obviously make another one here. And I do think, even though I didn't really scout anything super scary, that I'm still gonna go ahead and play very safe here by getting myself a couple of spore crawlers up in my mineral lines. Already though, this is not the cleanest of games. Not the cleanest of games. I'm definitely a little behind here as far as droning goes. I wish I could have droned a little bit greedier. But because I was forced to take the natural as my third, it all got a little bit messy. Anyway, it's time to start droning heavily right now. Gotta go ahead and rally my bases and really start piling on the pressure. Now there's a build that has been doing a lot, right? No, this is not that. I was gonna say, where he goes for a War Prism and charge lots. Doesn't look like that's the case in this particular one. Quick Immortal there, though. Obviously, they can deal a pretty large amount of damage if microed correctly. I'm gonna go ahead and take a third queen here, and I also want to start tacking up towards a lair.
Not enough minerals.
He is continuously warping in more units, so this could just be a good old 2-base all-in. I think I'm safe to drone up for just a little bit longer, but I do have to be careful that I don't get carried away with it. Gonna go ahead and take another gas here. I've got a Ling now at his third. There's a Warp Prism moving across. He killed the Ling at the third base, but I don't know what the Warp Prism is doing there and why he went for such a quick Immortal if he didn't plan on playing something a little bit more aggressive, right? So the Prism is here somewhere.
Successful. Not enough energy.
Okay. Let's go ahead and check whether or not he made a third. Gotta send that drone back. And we'll go ahead and make a bunch of units here for just a little bit, because I have to be a little careful. Random Oracle all of a sudden as a follow-up. There is a third base, so at least that's something good to know. And the fact that he actually made an Oracle could have been an hallucination. At this point, it's hard to tell, but the fact that he did make, you know, at the very least a group of other units, it's a good indication that I'm likely safe to do whatever I like. A couple of Adepts now shading into my mineral line. Kind of hurts a little, but I should be able to pick these up with relative ease. And obviously that is still a loss for him. Let's go ahead and get road speed started, and I'm gonna go ahead and probably go for a more macro-focused style here. Because the way that this has been looking so far is that I likely won't be able to really pressure here. That's the main issue. I want to go ahead and put some Overlords close to the perimeter so I can see what's going on. See if he's maybe warping in. There we go. He is. That's where these Adepts came from as well.
Under attack. Swarm forces under attack.
Okay. Once again, forced to run these units around for a little bit. Prism has been spotted. Should I... Yeah, I think I'm going to be able to stop that Adept here from really dealing any damage. And all things considered, we're in a decent spot right now. I think I've done a decent amount of damage. Got a lot of workers. Gonna go ahead and take a fourth base here as well. And I do want to grab myself a Hydra then here at this point in the game as well. Alright. So my main goal right now is to try and get up to about 66 workers, and that's where we have arrived. So, considering I'm at 66 right now, I'm actually going to spend some time here making a bunch of units. Ideally, I would like to go up to Lurker Hydra. I do think that's the correct choice. Many of those games. For now, though, I'm still going to be stuck on just Roaches. Do want to scout out and see whether or not he's maybe got another base coming up. Once again, a couple of Adepts have made their way over here. Now, there's the Prism obviously still above it, so... It's likely just gonna pick it up, and he did. Putting some Zerglings out on the map to scout whether or not he's expanding or whether or not he plans on moving out even more. With like a bigger force. Got the Lurker Den coming up right now. I'm gonna go ahead and send another one of those Queens towards the center. And we can really start building up our forces right now. I'm gonna go ahead and take more gases. And with the Prism mostly contained, I think I'm in a pretty decent spot.
Insufficient energy.
Prism is not really doing anything. And once again, right, it's for me mostly important right now that I scout out whether or not he plans on taking a fourth base. For the time being, I haven't really bothered with droning up my fourth. Mostly because I'm still assuming he's gonna go for some sort of pressure. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of scouting once again, try and figure out if I can see any scary units moving in my direction. My minimap vision is pretty decent so far though. But yeah, it looks like he's just really playing a super passive style. I kind of feel like I can squeeze out some drones here and go up to 80 or so. Well, maybe let's sit at 75 for a bit. Obviously, the result of me losing a lot of games also means that I'm very likely to be lower in MMR right now. There we go. Opponent is now coming up. But my MMR definitely dropped down a little as well, right? So it's hard to say exactly whether or not I'm like... playing the opponents that I normally would face up against, or if I have to be worried about this. Okay. These Adepts are definitely going to be dealt with quite comfortably. A couple of units now also moving on that side of the map. Should be able to pick these up with relative ease as well. He is picking up quite a few workers here, though, in the grand scheme of things. Not sure if he's already out on the map again. Let's go ahead and send some Zerglings over on the left-hand side just to make sure that we don't randomly... Yeah, okay, he's actually trying to take a fort right now, okay. I was wondering if there's maybe a pylon or something on this side, but I do think it's time for me to go. I have the Lurker Den done. Lurker Den obviously extremely valuable. Oh. Any High Templar that I could pick right now would be a massive pick. There we go. Also, at the very least, forced a couple of storms out of him, right? Gotta go ahead and send some links over there. Okay, very good. Still dealing a whole lot of damage to him. He doesn't have a lot of storms anymore. I think there's one. Okay. Dealing a lot of damage over at his third base. And my opponent decides to pause the game. And then, I guess, not GG out. Alright, that honestly wasn't the cleanest game I've ever played. But at the very least, it was a win, right? I feel like the main thing that kind of threw me off was him blocking my natural. That's just one of those things you have to play against a whole lot. Because taking your third base is ideally the best choice. But obviously if your opponent is gonna harass onwards, right? With then obviously the adepts and whatnot as well, things may get a little bit tricky. And that's exactly what ended up going down in that previous one as well. Here we go though. Next one is once again a Zerg vs Protoss. Same spawn location. Same matchup, same map. Let's go ahead and play this one a little bit cleaner, okay? So one of the things you can do to prevent your opponent from blocking your natural, and whenever you're on a losing streak, you may want to go ahead and do this, if you're a Zerg player at the very least, it's just by simply going for a 16 hatch. It's on paper not the most ideal choice. Ideally you go for a 17 supply hatchery, but the fact of the matter is that sometimes the game, you know, doesn't, or sometimes your opponent doesn't want you to play your A game. I really felt like my macro there was decent at best, but I did hit a supply block there and it just sort of slowed down my droning in the early game. And while it looked pretty decent, I think I definitely could have done a little bit better. So let's see if we can do better on this particular map. Or I guess it's the same map, but in this particular match. Hatchery goes down. Gonna follow it up once again with a hatchery, or with a spawning pool and a gas. Let's go ahead and give my opponent the GLHF. I gave him a smiley face as well, okay? I'm a Zerg player with good intent. The intention being, for me, just simply murdering his mineral line. I'm gonna play the exact same game. Obviously, it does take two to play that game. But ideally, I'd like to play the exact same game, but better. So the main thing that I could improve upon from that previous one is definitely just simply, just simply being more on point with my early game droning. I really felt like I was a little slow. Also, my scouting wasn't as great as it could have been. Although I knew about his main tech path and I knew about the fact that he did decide to go for a relatively quick third base, the Oracle kind of caught me off guard. Now, luckily for me, I made the blind spore crawlers, which I would highly recommend you do as well, but it is just one of those things where you probably, you know, you probably should be aware of the Stargate before it hits you. Anyhows, here we go. Gonna go ahead and make a group of Zerglings once again. Natural's gonna finish up in just a bit too. Cybercore here near the front. Second group of Zerglings, and I'm gonna check out whether or not it's got that Nexus. There should be a Nexus just about to finish. There we go. Probably an Adept at this point once again. You chrono boost that one out and you send that one across to scout whether or not Zerg is taking a third base. It is critical for me that I get the third base up, but ideally I want him to move across the map. There we go. I got the probe kill for free. That does make it actually a forced response right now for him to take a look at my third base, and I think that is exactly what he's doing. I don't know where his second pylon is located. His second pylon is likely going to be inside of his main base. In the meantime, I'm going to take my third, by the way, but because I don't see what kind of tech path he's got, and I don't see the second pylon, I'm definitely in a decent spot here. So the Adept is now moving across to confirm whether or not I took a third. I did indeed. Gonna go ahead and follow it up with another Queen right now, and there we do see the Stargate. Okay, so 100% on board with this. Okay, this is very good for me. He's actually gonna commit here with the Adept. Don't think I will be able to pick it up for now, but I should be okay. Is he gonna commit once again? I think he is. No, he's not. He's tricking me. Alright, so this is likely going to be an Oracle-based play. I'll actually just go ahead and send the Overlord in. It's very likely going to die to a Phoenix follow-up. Either way, we basically have to prepare for these kind of things in advance. I'm going to go ahead and make a Spore Crawler at 3 minutes and 30 seconds, which lines up with his Chrono boosted out Oracle. And I've sent most of my Overlords back as well, just to be safe. Alright, very good. Let's go ahead and continue injecting. It's actually a Void Ray first, and now a Robo follow-up. Very interesting. That's not something you would normally expect. I'm gonna go ahead and queue up another Queen. Maybe even a fifth one here as well.
Minerals required. Mineral not enough.
Not normally something you would see. Now, it has become a little more popular again, but
Energy.
there's no denying that this is not something you would normally really expect at this point.
Attack. Mineral.
Because they're not that great at harass, obviously, and not that great at scouting either. If I plan on making extra queens, though, which is what I'm doing so far, I do think I really want to, you know, squeeze out as many tumors as I can afford. Obviously, having 2 queens dedicated to creep spread does make it easier. Gonna go ahead and make a spore crawler here, or rather a roach warren here. And I'll continue making another group of links, because I'm not sure exactly what the deal is. He could obviously just follow it up with a third base here, which is kind of what I'm hoping for. Or he could still go for some aggression off of this as well. Do have my 5th queen just about to spawn, which is good. I'm queuing up more injects, because I've got a feeling I'm likely gonna need the queens here in just a second. There he is. Okay, made a big round of drones. No third base though. Okay, that's a big tell here. The fact that he doesn't have a third base at the 5-minute mark kind of indicates to me that he's planning on playing rather aggressive. I've got 48 drones right now, which is decent. He may actually be looking to take one here in just a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and make some roaches though. So a big chance of a follow-up right now is either Adepts, Zealots, or maybe even Archon drops, right? All of these are viable options. And the fact of the matter is that I need to counter the different options here as well. I do still want to figure out if he's taking a third. If he's not, obviously that indicates he's going for a 2-base all-in. Just because I want to, I'm gonna go ahead and put up a Hydra Den here as well. No third base. Okay, if that's the case, we're just gonna make non-stop units. I'm not exactly sure what his deal is and what his plan is, but if there's no extra base taken at the third, he could obviously be putting it over another place. But there we go. It is indeed going to be Archon drops. Okay. If this is the case, though, I'm usually in a really good spot because I already managed to deal with that one just fine. Gotta follow it up with some Evo chambers here as well. I'm assuming there's going to be a third. Still no third base to be seen anywhere, though. Alright, no third. This could just be an awkward, like, 2-base all-in, right? But I should be able to hold this all relatively easily. Okay. I'm actually droning up right now. I don't feel like I'm actually in any threat here whatsoever. That was super clean. That was so much better than game 1.
Command unacceptable.
Alright.
Swarm forces under attack.
Ideally, I would like to get some more tech out and whatnot, but so far, this is looking really quite solid for me. He lost quite a lot of important units there, at the very least a lot of time. Time is another one of those resources, and there we go. Finally, there is a base coming up. Alright. I'm now gonna go ahead and defend with my smaller unit, or with my units over here. Counter-attacking with the Zerglings. Okay, I've been droning up while this is all going on, which is quite nice. Trying to get some of these High Templar. If I could, that'd be pretty good. A couple of them obviously already moved over towards Archons, which is good for me because they already were saving up energy. Alright, let's go ahead and take a 4th base. So far the early game, 100% better than the previous one. That obviously doesn't guarantee that we're going to be in a great spot here for the remainder of the match. I can still easily mess this up. Storm is pretty good. But there's no denying we're in a good spot. Gonna switch once again to the same unit composition. Lurker Den is coming up.
Mineral cluster expended.
Ideally I would like to get some creep spread over on this side too. Did I get both of the Hydra upgrades? I did not get either of them. Alright, that's actually very critical that I spotted that there before, you know, it was too late. I'm gonna go ahead and send some of my roaches across right now. And once again, I wanna make sure that I know if he's planning on moving across with some units here too. Did I get the... Yeah, I did get the roach upgrade. Okay, that's good.
Swarm forces under attack.
Okay. Spreading around my units in my bases as well. It's pretty easy to do so, and obviously it really prevents a lot of these attacks from hurting you, which is wonderful. Gotta go into 2-2. And once again, Couple of High Templar snipes. I'll take them every day of the week. High Templar snipes are so painful for Protoss. For those of you that play Protoss, you know that it hurts. Okay.
Swarm forces under attack. Not enough energy.
I do have my lurker den done. Don't have a lot of lurkers yet. Only really gonna be able to afford 2, it looks like, but it's better than nothing. I know there's a small group over here too, and there's still obviously that Prism trying to be a jerk. Ooh, that's a lot of freaking Protoss though. But I've got a feeling I've got a pretty large army here too. If I could snipe the Observer, that's gonna make life way easier, or way harder for him. Okay, there we go. He knows now about my lurker play. Once again, High Templar. The more I can snipe of them, the better this becomes for me. Alright. Well, I mean, I don't think there's any storm, really. Oh, there is a little bit. Not a lot, though. And with that, right, we're in a really nice spot. Gotta go ahead and send the queens over there. Splitting up my units here to the best of my abilities. I don't have really a lot of workers yet at the 4th, so I could follow this up with drones, but I'm kind of smelling blood here. That's still a lot of Archon, though. A lot of Archon, a lot of Immortals, a lot of damage output here in general, but these are high important, very expensive units from my opponent, and if I can pick them off, that obviously makes it easier for me to win the game a little bit later on. But I do think I need to go back, yeah. He's got a lot of units there. Like, Immortals are not to be underestimated. They deal a lot of damage. Whoa, were you guys chilling all that time? Did I have them on idle there for a while? I'm not sure. Let's go ahead and scout out, though, whether or not it's taking another base somewhere.
Sequences spun. Swarm mutated.
Okay. Get it! Get it! Get it! Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, thank you. Okay. It's time once again for a bit of a push. I'm gonna go ahead and do a counterattack towards the 4th base with my roaches and then shove up the ramp with my main army. Gotta also transition right now towards the hive.
Forces under attack.
Okay.
Forces under attack.
Okay, here we go. He's now forced to split up his units. He's doing so, but he's losing a lot here in the process. Zerglings in the mineral line. That was a good one, alright? Compared to the previous one, this one was much better already. And I feel like we were in control of that one from the very start to the very finish. That was good. You know, not to pat myself on the back or whatever, right? But I felt like at the very least, like considering I talk bad about my own performance all the time, I feel like sometimes it's okay to go ahead and compliment yourself. That was a pretty good game. All right, let's do one more, one last one. Alrighty, last game is a Zerg versus Terran on Lost and Found LE. All right, that was good. That was actually pretty nice there. I felt a lot more in form that game. Now, we haven't been cheesed yet, right? And if there's like a general ratio of cheese, at least at this level, usually it's like, you know, 1 in 3 games or so. So I'm gonna start scouting for it quite aggressively. I already gave him the GLHF. Even though obviously statistics don't work like that. I would like to see what my opponent has got in store for us. In ZVT, it's very common these days to send your very first Overlord across the map, and the first one you make, you send that one around the map to scout for any kind of incoming proxies. One of the most common builds in ZVT right now is obviously the 3 Rex Rush. Bunkers and all kinds of other shenanigans. It's pretty painful, but I don't actually see it all too often, to be honest. Real Lowko? Real Lowko. If there are any fake ones, let me know. I'm an internet celebrity now. Mom, I made it! My mom doesn't live here. It's so cool, man. Sometimes people recognize my nickname in games. And, it does give me a little bit of a sense of achievement. It's pretty cool, man. Not gonna lie. I'm like in a very niche area. Some people know my nickname. In a very niche area of a really niche hobby. Strategy games, in video gaming in general. Some people know my nickname. Oh yeah. Mama made it. Hey, by the way, it's pretty cool. I noticed that there's still a lot of people continuously joining the YouTube channel. Channel is still growing happily, man. For a game that's 8 years old, I cannot complain. Thank you. Alright, so let's see what my opponent has in store for us. Haven't seen a Reaper move yet, although I may have missed it. I'm gonna go ahead and send a probe over, or a worker over there. There is a low ground expo. There is now also a reactor follow-up already. I'm gonna go ahead and grab that one right now. Even before starting up link speed. Kind of forgot about link speed, to be honest with you. It wasn't a strategic choice. But it's okay. Shouldn't really matter. Actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a little bit more common, actually. Okay. Does look like he's gonna switch around the factory right there with the add-on that he created with the barracks. It's okay with me, but it does mean we should see Hellions and now a starport and a tech lab are coming up as well. Very, very likely gonna be some 1-1-1 play, right? I mean, that is exactly what we have. So 1 barracks, 1 factory, and 1 starport. Terran has this nasty tendency to be able to produce everything within the first couple of seconds of the game. Thank you. Jebaited. Oh god, what are you guys doing over there? Jeez, get to work. They wanted a little bit of a break. No breaks allowed over here, man. This is just like Frostpunk. Okay, so there's likely gonna be a factory first. I'm not seeing a second Stargate. Or a second, Oh, gotta be a little careful here. That actually hurts. I don't see a second tech lab, is what I was gonna say. So this could easily be a mech-based follow-up as well, right? There's not even a cloak coming up. Or at least an upgrade. Okay. Do get all of these Hellions for practically free. I'll take it. I'm gonna go ahead and actually cancel that one. Put the drones back into the gas. Cancel that one too. And go for Lair instead. I'm not entirely sure what my opponent's plan is. But I do feel like it's likely involving roaches. Or the counter is likely gonna involve roaches here. Alright, once again, very similar to ZVP. We need to make sure that we drone up efficiently. I haven't lost a lot of workers. I think I lost maybe 2 or 3 or so. Not that many, actually. Luke's very bad, but it wasn't really that bad. And he sacrificed a lot for trying to pull that one off, right? It's very much so about droning up at the correct timing. I'm gonna go ahead and grab armor here first. What was that? Something was moving. It's a Banshee. Okay, good. Very important scout there.
Forces under attack.
Yeah, I gotta be careful. I think I actually just lost my group of Zerglings. Can't find them anymore, they're gone. Luckily for me, I made some new ones already. Got 5 queens here, which is nice. I would like to figure out what my opponent's plan is, though. Got the Roach Warren right now. Getting its upgrade.
Must spawn more overlords.
I don't think it has cloak yet. Oh no, it does. It just finished it up. Okay, third command center.
Must spawn more overlords. Insufficient.
Fair enough. I don't really know what his plan is, but considering he's still making Hellions, it's very likely gonna be mech play. It's really the only thing that makes a lot of sense at this point. Gonna go ahead and make a Hydro Den here too. Alright, so similar to ZVP, I want to try and get up to about 66 drones right now. 66 drones is nice. Because once we get that up, we can really start piling on the aggression.
Insufficient energy. Not.
Second Banshee there. Now, it could still be bio, though. That's the tricky part. That's what makes this such a difficult matchup to read. Because you kind of counter both differently. You can't really counter mech the same way as you do bio. Well, you kind of can. I know that, for example, Snoot has been doing that kind of thing.
Not enough energy.
But yeah, it's difficult.
Insufficient sequences spun.
Okay.
Mutated.
Still trying to figure out what his plan is. Very good. Got that one for practically free once again. I know I say that a lot, but it was practically free. It might actually be bio though, look at that, right? This is such a tricky play. This is something that a lot of Terrans have been doing lately. Where they go for something that looks as if it's mech. A lot of focus on Hellions, and then eventually they switch into something else entirely. Well, either way, I'm still gonna try and counter it. Let's go ahead and get the armor upgrade here. Yeah, it certainly is. If I had my Hellions or my my Hydras here, I would have been in a great spot. I don't actually know if I like this. If I could get the siege tank, it might be decent, but... yeah, that wasn't great, actually. And obviously, these medevacs are still out there somewhere, right? So it is gonna be a bio play, by the way. Even though it looked so much like mech earlier on. He did decide to unload the medevacs, so at the very least they're not moving across anymore. That's good for us. Gonna go ahead and transfer some workers there. And I'm gonna start up my hive. Okay. Just finished up droning. There's 2 medevacs unloading over on that side. So this is the tricky part. If he starts dropping on a location where I cannot defend, obviously this army is really slow, right? And that's the one downside that we have. Roaches and Hydras are not fast units. So I have to be in position before the drops arrive. I have to be very much so on point with that. We've got the hive coming up right now. Ideally, we switch towards Brute Lords here in the late game. Brute Lords are obviously absolutely phenomenal. Just simply defending stuff. And also at the offensive. I'm gonna go ahead and pick that upgrade up or the macro hatchery update right there in the main base. I don't read that.
Insufficient energy.
Okay.
Evolution complete.
I'm not worrying about spellcasters. I know that a couple of infestors might not necessarily hurt here, but I think I'm okay. As it is.
Hive cluster under direct assault.
Did I get both of my Hydra upgrades? I did. That's good. Hive is now done. I'm gonna go ahead and send a group of Zerglings out as well on the other side of the map. Or towards the other side of the map. And I'm gonna finish making overlords. Ideally, I do get a Baneling Nest, though. I think it is smart to maybe get a Baneling Nest. That is something I haven't really messed around with yet, but... I've kind of got a feeling that that is a good idea. He did scan just now, and he does confirm that I've got a Spire. Very important move for him. He might actually trigger an all-out assault because of that. Yeah, I think he is.
Not enough mineral. Creep tumor under attack.
Okay. Going for my Corruptors. Leaving units obviously near the northern end of the map. And we're gonna continue spreading some of this around as well. Okay. No base to be seen over here yet. Gotta go ahead and get Burrow. No base to be seen over here yet either. So if he doesn't have actually another base, I'm not in a bad spot at all. I don't really need to fight then if that's the case. Okay. Looks like he's gonna try and stop this with Vikings. Got a Brute Lord now coming up. Now this is the tricky part. If I can hold on here, I'm gonna be in a good spot. But this is not easy. He did already siege with a really big amount of units. I don't think my siege position here is particularly great. Still cleaning up the majority of this. And so far, it looks like I may very well be able to hold on. Close call. Got a lot of reinforcements coming in, though. Alright, we did. We did hold on. Alright, good. I actually was a little worried there. I think if my opponent's macro was a little more on point, he probably had a chance of pushing through there. This is why you add on like an infestor or two. Just a small amount. I noticed Snoot do that in pretty much all of his games. I don't think we really want to push there. Okay. Got Broodlings, or rather Banelings now coming up. They are pretty nice against this kind of thing. And we're gonna follow it up with a lot more links here as well. Let's go melee upgrades and let's add Adrenal Glands. Okay. Roll, roll, roll your Banes gently down their base. Did he just EMP his own units? Looked like it. Okay. Very good. Got a Brute Lord coming up. I really didn't commit very much to Brute Lords, right? He scouted my my Greater Spire and then started making a lot of Vikings, but the Vikings never really achieved anything. Okay. Let's continue onwards here. Gonna send some links over in that direction. And this, once again, looks like we may very well be going for the 3 in a row. Not bad after losing a lot of my games, right? Woo! We once more got ourselves a victory. Very nice. Now, I hope that you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get a notification as soon as I upload more. A special shout out to my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys so much for directly supporting my StarCraft 2 content. But for now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile alright. And I will see you once again in the next one.